For this problem, what you need to do first is make sure that you have these steps down. So to simplify any of these trig functions to a single trig function with no denominator, the first thing we're going to do is use trig identities. So the things that would allow us to substitute one thing for another. We usually do this so that we can rewrite everything in terms of sine and cosine. And then we're going to use our algebraic skills to simplify. All right, so looking at this first one, we have sine squared theta times cotangent squared theta. Well, on this one, I know that cotangent theta is the same as cosine squared theta over sine squared theta, okay? I know that is true because we know that cotangent is cosine over sine, and I know that because we know that tangent is sine over cosine, okay? Now, just because this is squared, it just stands to show that if you square both sides of this, you're going to just square the top and bottom, okay? So that's how I'm arriving at this idea. Now, my sine squared theta, it's already written in terms of a sine or a cosine. So I'm going to just write this as such. I'll make it over 1. And what we're doing is we're multiplying fractions. Well, one thing I notice right here is that sine squared thetas are going to cancel. So all that's left is cosine squared theta. That is a single trig function with no denominator. So this is what we would want. Okay? All right, for the next one, I have secant squared theta divided by cosecant squared theta. What the heck would that be? Well, hopefully we remember that secant squared theta is 1 over cosine squared theta. And I know that because secant theta is just 1 over cosine theta. And if I square both sides, that's what I would get. Now my denominator is cosecant squared theta, which would be 1 over sine squared theta. And we know that because cosecant theta is 1 over sine theta. So if I square both sides, I get that result. Now, looking at this, I'm dividing two fractions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this as 1 over cosine squared theta times, I'm going to do the reciprocal of the second fraction, which makes me have sine squared theta over 1. Multiplying my fractions, I just get sine squared theta over cosine squared theta. And hopefully we remember that sine squared over cosine squared gives us tangent squared theta. That's what we want. Okay? This is now a single trig function with no denominator.